Hi, everybody. So today's conversation is going to be focused a lot on Cognigen's global presence, not just with its clients, but also its employees, how everybody's around the world, and how all of the different teams come together to provide the best support and services to our clients. Um, I'm going to start with Darcy to introduce herself.
Hi, Perry. Thank you. My name is Darcy Hitchcock, and I have been with Cognigen for 25 years. I am responsible for our quality activities related to ensuring compliance with any applicable regulatory requirements, as well as helping to ensure that our internal processes are consistent with those requirements and that our personnel are properly trained on quality processes and that our deliverables are produced in a quality, accurate, and consistent fashion. My other responsibility is overseeing our clinical data programming group. We have a group of very experienced data programmers that assist with building analysis-ready data sets, generating tables, figures, and listings for our client deliverables, perform data quality control, produce data definition documentation for deliverables, and any other ad hoc requests that come through that need to be completed to support our client deliverables.
Thank you, Darcy. Christian, did you want to go next?
Sure. So my name is Christian Claussen. I've been with Cognigen for a little over a year. And before that, I've been a consultant for a few years, and then I've come from the pharma industry. So I work as a pharmacometrician, and also I do some sort of internal development of what I would call tools for pharmacometrics. Some of it is process automation, particularly on the reporting side, so creating pharmacometrics reports. But primarily, I work as a consultant within pharmacometric sciences. So I interact with the client and internally with our project team to sort of fulfill or execute on our projects that we've set up, which could be different types of pharmacometrics analysis, such as population analyses within PK or PK/PD. Could be exposure response analyses or other types of pharmacometrics work. So on a day-to-day basis, I interact with, for instance, data managers or members of Darcy's team, and also with colleagues like Lindsay on the project management side to ensure that we keep these projects on track and deliver to the clients what we've promised and on time. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I do.
Thank you, Christian. Lindsay, your go.
Yep, great. Thank you, Pari. So I'm Lindsay Lehmann. I've been with Cognigen for about a year now. I'm Associate Director of Program Management here. So I oversee our project management department, which is responsible essentially for the operational aspects of a project, including, some financial and contractual obligations that we negotiate with the client in advance of initiation of our projects. I also oversee our administrative support group, whose expertise lie around document specialization and creation. So they're often involved in the reporting aspects of our projects and kind of are the glue that keeps the team together as far as getting those getting those reports written and ensuring high quality deliverables that are sent to our clients for signature and project close.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. I am so glad we're all here. Moving into the conversation, I think my first question is going to be, how do you guys work together being in such different time zones, like how does it all come together? How do you make sure, as Christian mentioned, how do you make sure it's on time and delivered to the client? And I'm going to start with Christian, if that's okay.
Sure. Yes, well, I think not only because we're located in different places, even different time zones, but also because of the current situation with COVID-19, the tools that we use, which is essentially internet-based tools, are extremely important. So we use Microsoft Teams a lot to do sort of the day-to-day communication. So that can be anything from a meeting that's planned, that's in our calendars, but then also the sort of internet equivalent of tapping your colleague on the shoulder, which is sort of contacted them in the chat function of Microsoft Teams, or calling them in sort of an ad hoc call on Microsoft Teams. That's extremely important to be able to do that. And also to have the flexibility to sometimes when a colleague pings you on Teams to stop what you're doing and take the time to chat or discuss with that colleague. That's essentially the same as if someone would come and tap you on the shoulder if you were sitting in an office environment right next to your colleague. So that's extremely important, having these internet tools. I would say in general, the whole sort of Microsoft Office 365 suite we use quite a bit, also for storing documents, sharing documents, and collaborating on projects. So yeah, we're using the sort of 21st century IT technologies to get around the challenges of not being physically located right next to each other.
Thank you. Lindsay, did you have anything to add on to that?
Sure. I think the other important aspect is, as a global team, we are in essence able to extend our work day, if you will. So instead of a regular 9 to 5 where everyone's located in a single time zone, we're able to have Christian start his day in Denmark. And then as he's wrapping up his work, sometimes we have multiple analysts on a project. He can throw it, back into the appropriate folder for a scientist in the Midwest to pick up and continue working on. And same thing with, the rest of our functional areas. So project management and data management as well. Um, and in addition to just the extension of a workday to help support our client in a more timely and expedited fashion, we also have a very flexible company culture. And again, this goes back to what Christian alluded to, which is with the situation with COVID-19, a lot of us are managing being, if you will, homeschool teachers, caregivers, et cetera, while we're also still trying to do our normal everyday job. So Cognigen has been very supportive of flexible hours to allow us to be able to better manage our home life and our work life while we're in the midst of this pandemic.
Thank you. This is all great. Moving into further, Darcy, tell us about something. How does your typical day look like? Being in a different time zone, completely different from what Christian and Lindsay generally see. How does your typical day look like when you monitor different employees and work with different clients? Darcy, are you still there?
Sorry, I have taken myself off mute.
That's
Um,
okay.
I think many people would first respond to this question and say, and with a question and say, is there anything, is there really anything such as a typical day? We work in a fluid environment, and projects and timelines and client needs change. We can have a client that comes to us with an urgent project, and we can easily shift our timelines and our personnel to accommodate our client needs. Having people working internationally in different time zones helps to accomplish these types of things. And having the flexibility to work these different hours to get project work done, as well as taking care of and accommodating individual personnel needs, is a really positive thing. So I just wanted to comment onto that. But a typical day working on projects is making sure that the right people are working on the right projects, that timelines are being met, and that they're following the standard best practices that we put in place to ensure the quality of the end deliverable. So for example, when we are performing an analysis for a client, and our scientists need an analysis-ready data set, our programmers are trained on good programming practices. That means that as they are building their data set, they are performing data assessment. They are what the requirements of that data set are. They're making sure they have the right data. They're looking at the data, they're performing data quality assessments, checking that those values are as expected. They're running statistics to make sure that the values are within the expected range. They're running counts. They're generating prints whenever they perform data manipulation. They check their work as they go along to ensure the quality of that data set so that it is built correctly the first time and there is minimal rework. They work very closely in collaboration with the scientist or the individual who's requested that work be done. And this again helps to ensure that both the requester and the programmer are on the same page with understanding and interpreting those requirements. So we work in an environment where we always think quality. We always want to do those checks to make sure things are right, because we want to deliver that quality deliverable. We check things along the way, then it's more apt to be done when it's completed. So I think that is one of the things that the clinical data programming team and support function has been instilled with, is as well as other support personnel and project team members, is performing quality work so that that deliverable can be the best it can be when we deliver it to the client.
Thank you. That's great. Christian, did you have a typical day, or as Darcy said, there's never a typical day, but as a scientist, as a pharmacometrician, what do you think looks like your typical day, I would say?
Well, at least the first part of the day is always sort of quite solitary, in the sense that most of the US is still sleeping. And although I am sitting in the same office with my wife, Annetta, who also works at Cognigen, right now we're on separate projects. So there I have the time to actually get a lot of stuff done, the work that I'm doing. So this is right now 2 projects with clients, and also some work on process automation. And then Annette and I try to sort of reserve the time slots, which would correspond to anywhere between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time for meetings. So we try to catch up with our US colleagues and then make sure that we hand off stuff that needs to be sort of continued after we more or less sign off around there. So I think, Lindsay, you mentioned working with someone from the Midwest. I am actually doing that right now. So that's the time where I hand off some of the stuff that I've been doing to him. So that's a typical workday in its structure. But what you actually do depends a lot, of course, on which project you're on and which phase of the project that you're in. If it's modeling work, then you're spending a lot of time developing models in the softwares that we use for that. You could also be working on a report. That's a different matter. Then you're doing it's much more collaborative. You're working closely with our administrative support group to do handoffs and ensure that the report is getting done properly. So yeah, it depends very much on what you're doing and what stage you're in the project that you're working on.
Right. Thank you so much. That looks all very busy, and I'm so glad that we're all here to share what we all do. My final question, starting with Lindsay, would be how do you think, with so much quality work and so much so many people working on different time zones, different timelines, how do you think it all comes together to benefit the client from a project management perspective? I think you can give an overall view if you have any.
Sure. So I think, Christian and Darcy already alluded to this some, but we have a very collaborative internal team. The ability to have different functional areas focus on certain aspects of a project simultaneously is also very beneficial to our clients. So that in that way we are able to, if you will, shorten our timelines to better fit their needs. I think the other thing, that's important to touch upon is, the transparency and communication that we maintain with our clients. Um, so we often have regular follow-up calls or meetings with them. And in these calls, we always share our progress. It's either through, slides or our Kiwi platform where we can show the models in real time. And, while we're doing that, not only does it maintain our transparency in the work that we've executed thus far, it also ensures that we're continuously meeting the client's needs, especially as new challenges come up for the client that now requires maybe some additional work or changing certain aspects of the work that was already planned to better meet their needs. And then, in addition to that, when we have regulatory type projects, we are always quote unquote on call for those follow-up questions that come back from the regulatory agencies to ensure that our clients are getting the support that they need in order to qualify whatever it is that they're pursuing.
Right. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been really helpful to understand how Cognigen's entire team works with so many people, almost 60 employees. It's definitely around the world. It's a great thing that we all are so well spoken and we're very well at communication. And thank you so much for coming to talk about that. Thank you, Darcy, Christian, and Lindsay, and have a good one.
Thank you, Pari.
Thank you, Pari.
Thank you
Have a
very
good
much.
one,
Bye bye.
everybody. Bye-bye.